What's up, Writing Workshop, and happy virtual day. Today's lesson, I'm going to try to keep our video short as we are just following up with a lesson that we started last week, actually last week Monday, so a week ago, that I would love to finish off today before we move on to something new this week. I would encourage you to take a moment to pray if you haven't done so yet for your learning today. Maybe pause the video, say a quick prayer, then we'll continue from there. Alright, and I hope you had a quick moment there to pause the video and pray if you need to. Our objective for today is the same as last Monday. We want to utilize stronger word choice in writing. In this video, I'll review our document when we were working in class on word choice last week. But there's also an assignment we never got around to last week that I want you to work on today. I figured a virtual day is a good way to kind of knock that out and then move on to something new this week. So you'll see two things in today's lesson folder. You're watching word choice review right now. Again, I'm going to try to keep this video pretty short, and then we'll look at word choice practice as well. I'll give you guys two reminders just while I'm thinking about them right this moment too. One thing I would point out is that if you do need to double back to anything regarding your college application essay, I will point out that I moved that all into its unit folder here. If you open it up, you'll see I put your outline and your full essay, the spot to turn it in, right at the top of the folder to make them nice and accessible. I still have a number of essays to grade, so by all means, if you're wrapping up your essay, you could certainly do that today as well. The other thing that I wanted to give a reminder of right now before we continue is that I'm going to try to be available through Schoology and Microsoft Teams throughout the day today. I have a number of things to get done, so I'll be off and on as we're working today, but just know that you can certainly reach out to me throughout the day. So I'll try to be helpful for you in that way. Alright, word choice review. So you're watching our video right now. One thing I did is I attached our document from last week right here, just something that we use for word choice strategies. I'll just click view so we can look at that together, and then we'll look at the assignment too. So these are just some refreshers on things that we talked about last week. There I go using the word thing. I really shouldn't because of what we're talking about here. Because what we have here are vocab strategies, as we talked about some different ideas on how to use better nouns, adjectives, and adverbs in writing. Just wanted to give a little refresher on that today. For one, and I just want to look at this, I can't highlight it, maybe I can actually, if I do this maybe. This little blurb right here is probably the most important thing to remember from our lesson last Monday. There are two routes for finding strong alternatives for words in our writing. One route is to be specific. Usually that helps with clarifying ideas. Earlier I challenged myself on using the word thing. That's a spot where we want to be specific. I said the word thing right there when I really meant something like ideas or concepts. I want to be specific with the exact word, especially in writing, so I can be as clear as possible. Another route is to use creative synonyms. This is all about turning 10-cent words into $10 words like we talked about last week. It also helps with controlling the tone of our writing. If we want our writing to feel more creative, maybe slangy, we're going to use slang terms. We're going to use creative synonyms. If we want our writing to sound more formal, we might use more scientific words, or we might use better vocabulary words, stronger words, in order to control that tone. The example that I always think of with nouns is the word dog. So for instance, words like puppy, hound, mutt, or pooch could be creative synonyms. Again, they control the tone. Puppy is a much more positive sounding word than mutt or pooch. Those might be used in a more negative context. Or we could be specific, right? We could give that dog a name. Maybe it was Lucky or Spot. Maybe it was a specific type of dog, like a Shiba Inu or a Schnauzer or a Doberman. Being specific helps with clarifying ideas, because there is a big difference between I was bit by a puppy and I was bit by a Doberman or bit by a pit bull or whatever it might be. Notice how this works in a complete sentence context too. My dog ate my homework. Okay, classic sentence, but kind of boring, needs some work. Our Doberman, Happy, shredded my assignment. It has some creative nouns and a better verb right there. An assignment is better than homework as well. It's just a much more interesting sentence to read, and it just lifts up the quality of my writing there. Thing is the vaguest, most overused word in English. Again, I used it earlier because we're so used to using it in conversation. The thing to note, there I'm using thing. The concept to note with thing is that it's a placeholder in conversation. So in writing, we want to take whatever it's taking the place of and replace it with a stronger term. We did the same thing for adjectives and adverbs. The word that always comes to mind for me is good, right? And I think I use this in 8th hour, maybe 6th hour as well. But Giannis Antetokounmpo is a good basketball player, and Marco's Pizza down the street from my house has good pizza. But those two things are not good in the same exact sense, right? I might say the pizza is tasty, but I wouldn't call Giannis tasty. That'd be really strange, right? Conversely, I could say that Giannis is a talented basketball player, but I wouldn't say that Marcos has talented pizza. That's odd. This is just a context where we want to be as specific as possible. What do you mean by good? This pizza tastes good. This pizza tastes delicious, scrumptious, delectable. Those are much better terms. They're $10 words instead of the 10-cent word good there. Works for any other adjective: bad, happy, hot, cold, whatever it might be. Replace them with stronger alternatives to lift up the quality of your writing. Adverbs work a little differently, mostly just in the sense that there's a small set of adverbs we want to be really careful with in writing. And there I was using one in speech again. I use the word really. Words like very and really have better alternatives. So very or really, they mean the same thing. Could be something like extremely or quite or rather. Those are better terms for writing. Some other problematic adverbs to watch out for in your own writing. Usually is a little basic. We might replace it with a word like often, normally. Someone last week said typically, which is a really great adverb to use in your writing. Just is overused. Replace it with something like merely, barely, or hardly. Totally was hijacked by surfers in the 90s. Let's replace that with something like completely or entirely. And then actually is a little bit overused as well. Actually could be replaced by a prepositional phrase like in fact, if you want to maybe add some variety into your writing. Something to note in general, and this is more for essay writing than anything, adjectives and adverbs are excellent for adding detail into our writing, but you really want to avoid overusing them because that will make your writing feel informal. You want to be really selective and careful with adjectives. Adverbs you want to use quite sparingly. Notice there that I replaced very with quite. Again, quite and rather are good words to add into your writing vocabulary. I've jabbered enough on this. This is a document you can use as a reference. Let's take a look at the assignment. Word choice practice. And can I look at the document? I'm just going to look at the document. I know I can't make any changes to it here or it'll mess with your stuff. Just want to cover directions here. So it's titled Word Choice Practice here, and this is a OneDrive assignment, so you can edit this all you like. This is your copy to mess with. The directions say the following 10 sentences all contain weak, vague, or otherwise unclear words. I've only really messed with adjectives, adverbs, or nouns. You can certainly change verbs if that helps with your sentence too. It simply says please rewrite these sentences using better word choice. So I'll just look at number 1 as an example. It says Mr. Kirsch is a cool guy. There are 2 words in this sentence that probably need to be modified. There's cool, which is a basic adjective. We want to replace that with something stronger. Again, the question is, what do I mean by cool? Guy is a bit of a weak noun. Let's use something better there. We could be more specific. What kind of guy is he? I can mention that he's a principal, for instance. Or I could be more creative than that. Use a term like gentleman, something a little more formal. All you'll have to do is highlight the lines. You really don't need the lines anymore, and replace them with your sentence. You can say something like, Mr. Kirsch is an understanding principal, or Mr. Kirsch is a laid-back individual. Something that's better than guy there. It's up to you whatever words you use. We do have to make those words stronger as you're working. Notice that it's the same for every sentence. So, Antarctica is very cold. The food literally burned my mouth. The Beatles are actually a good band. Domingo is mean and he does bad things. That's a really weak sentence. The big dog chased the little cat. Something smells bad in this place. Your clothes are very pretty. I gave the nice person some stuff. And that animal totally just took my snacks. Again, be more specific, be creative as you are reworking these sentences. This will be something that I look to grade throughout the week, just little by little, just like I'm working on with your college application essays. Again, I'll try to be available in Teams today and here on Schoology, so message me if you need help. I'll do my best to get back to you in a timely fashion. Peace.